The mini course has a few videos in there that talks a little bit about me and my story, but my story, it's like I have 2 or 3 stories in one. I was really unwell for so many years, and I was searching for answers as to why I was unwell, for one, and how to heal myself. And the medical side of things, they didn't really offer me any answers. They just told me that I was depressed. I looked really healthy, you know, I looked after myself in lots of other areas with diet and exercise and all these things, but there was just something that wasn't right. And I thought it was hormonal at the time, and I actually went to the point of like a mental breakdown after my 3rd child was born. And then after that, I went on this search to heal myself, and I kind of started, I had done lots and lots and lots of things. And then I actually went on to learn like a certain modality. And it was through the process of learning this modality and almost going into heal myself through the process. So it was a lot, you know, in order to learn the style of healing that I first engaged with. There was so much to learn. It was really in depth about how the physical body works, so physiology, but also kind of that mind, body, soul connection, even like at a neurological level and working with deep neurological structures. So for me, it wasn't even learning it was the hard part. It was healing myself in the process. So I had to kind of go through all these healing processes for myself. And in my story, it talks about how I realized that I had really, really special gifts with dark energy and dark entities. And I almost had these gifts that you can't actually learn out of books. And through my journey, not just to kind of heal myself, but to learn all these techniques, it's like I really tapped into, you know, kind of like that, my place of my gifts, that it's almost like they had been buried. It's like I was in such ill health and disease and decline and overrun with negative entities. It was this real process of transforming myself in order to do what I do now. So in the process to do what I do now, I had to heal myself, obviously. As a healer, you can't actually heal anyone else until you've healed yourself. It's like I hold the template for that healing. So maybe kind of fast forward, like my story has so much detail to it, and one day I do want to write a book. How did I kind of come up with the Epstein Barr Virus healing process that I do now for people? So I learned all of these different things, learning how to work deeply in the body, you know, learning how to work with the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, looking at every single organ and gland in the body. It's like I had this ability to do these things through this framework that I was using. And I did look at medical mediums information. So mediums information was amazing. It was one of my first kind of aha moments, and this is like maybe 7 years ago. And I started to kind of question, could Epstein Barr virus be the problem in my body, and why I was struggling so hard? Even though I was looking at all these little pieces of the puzzle, was it really a bigger picture that I hadn't realized? And so once I kind of started going into this, like, I don't know if you know, but when you start learning any healing techniques, it's like your energy wants to test things. It's like I've got to bring conscious awareness to something, and then it's like I will kind of, I don't know, it's like I'll hear new information or I'll be shown something else. And with my healing, I've just kind of followed this path. But I literally then got curious whether Epstein Barr virus could be the root cause of all my problems in my body and what I was experiencing. Because, you know, it felt like depression. It felt like hormone imbalance. It felt like a body that just was not functioning correctly at all. It felt like burnout. It felt like, well, again, I've said at one point it was a mental breakdown. So I started almost working on myself. And I realized that Epstein Barr virus, so I looked at medical mediums information, but because I had other gifts and skills, it wasn't information any longer. It was information that then I had this kind of platform or this way of looking in the body and actually looking at structures and finding where EBV was and how it was affecting the body and where it was, you know, hiding essentially, because that's what it does, in order to create this process to get the body to acknowledge it, to get the body to start actually healing and reducing it. So I don't know if you understand, but the body's really good at healing itself if it knows what to do. But the problem is the body can get so overrun, and when you've got one structure that's not functioning correctly, numerous structures will kind of step in and compensate. So that's the problem. When people are looking to heal Epstein-Barr, they might just be looking at their thyroid. But the thyroid, by the time you realize your thyroid's compromised, there's so many other structures that are kind of compounded on top of it. And a lot of them are to do with deep neurological structures that control the whole functioning of the rest of the body. So it's almost like I started to work with EBV and myself, and I kind of found all this really key information and went, oh my God, I had like these aha moments. And as I was starting to do that, and once I realized how to heal it in myself, then it's like the more clients I started working with, it's like it would present and show me the information in them. So once again, I said as a healer, you can only heal somebody if you've done that for yourself. And so what I then found is that I was working with, I don't know, like CEOs and business leaders, and they were coming to me for transformation, and I was able to work on all levels, mind, body, and soul. But once I kind of put this extra piece of information into the puzzle, that every single client had Epstein-Barr virus, and every single client, no matter what they wanted, I had to heal Epstein-Barr virus and reduce it and heal it in the background to facilitate this really, really deep transformation. So once I almost like kind of cracked that code on that, and in the way that I heal it, it's like I have to go to, when I do the process to heal EBV, so it's like a protocol that I've created, but it's through me. It's through my energy. Once again, please, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, please watch the mini course, because I do explain how I heal and what my gifts are. I actually bring people's energy into my body, and I heal them through my own energy, and because I hold this information or this template, and it's like I can then feel, so things I can intently feel where there's blocks and restrictions. I hear things like medical medium might hear information, but I actually use that information to heal off. There's all these different things that I can look at, and I have to actually go and look at every single organ and gland in the body, every single neurological structure, the immune system, neurotransmitters, different kind of nerves in the body, a whole lot of things to do with like really deep neurological structures and networks. And I have to almost say, where is EBV affecting you in your body? And then it's almost like by having the other gifts and skills that I have to release any blocks and restrictions in these energetic structures, to get the body to acknowledge that it actually has EBV, because that's the problem. Most people are like have had EBV for, I don't know, decades and decades and decades, and it can kind of go undetected, or the body doesn't even realize how it's being affected. So it's like I give their body this list, and when their body, their energetics acknowledges it, it's like it goes this big sigh of relief and goes, oh, I now know what I need to do in order to heal it. So the healing sessions that I've created, there's so much to it. It's not just healing EBV. I get a lot of people come through and they're so focused on the physical symptoms, and I get it. I get that they've had ill health for a long time, but realistically, that is almost like sort of like the end pathway. It's like with EBV, you have to actually address the reason why Epstein-Barr virus built up in the first place. So this is why the process and the way that I heal people is so in-depth, because I have to hear their story. I have to hear what's relevant to them. I have to hear the reasons and their triggers that set them off into this deep survival stress state, and the state that allowed the Epstein-Barr virus to take advantage, because it's an opportunist virus, and that allowed the Epstein-Barr virus to constantly keep building up. 95% of the world's population have it. Not as many people suffer because they have all these other areas of their life more in balance. They've probably, I don't know, some people respond to stress differently. I often find that a lot of people will have maybe traumatic, or like stressful, maybe even childhood or situations in life, or these kind of trauma events. And it's really looking at each person individually and looking at, for them, you've got to heal the stress that allowed EBV to do the damage, but you've also got to heal EBV at the same time that it's actually done the damage to structures. So it's this real balance. And the way that I heal mind, body, and soul, I'm always working in alignment with someone's highest potential, their highest kind of transformation that's possible for them. And it's almost like they've become so disconnected in themselves. And when we're reconnected at this highest level, this higher spiritual aspect, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience, we are multidimensional beings, regardless of whether we understand that or not. Everything is energetic, as in an organ or a gland functions at a different vibrational frequency. When that vibrational frequency goes out of resonance, or the vibrational frequency that it's meant to be in order to have, like it to be functioning correctly or good health, that's when you have a breakdown of so many other things that are all kind of interconnected in the body. So one, everything's energy. We are multidimensional beings. We are meant to have this kind of, this higher internal connection, and it's about EBV, and healing it is really about transformation. So I think I kind of talked on and on. Sorry, I hope I've answered that question. I realized when people came to me for deep transformation, whatever they were looking for, whether it was simply to, feel like it was energy, vitality, whether they had an adrenal issue, whether it was a hormonal issue, but most people were looking for something more. Most people that I worked with had a really beautiful life, but yet they were kind of deeply unhappy, or they felt like there was something missing, and it was always that kind of internal connection that they were looking for. So again, healing EBV in the way I do, it is about transformation. It is about healing someone's whole entire life, because we're here to get our lessons. We're here to heal. We're here to elevate. We're here to evolve. And at the moment, the world is de-evolving at a very, very rapid rate.